Clapton related to the blues in a way that is mysterious because he was a middle-class English kid and yet seems to have been very common. For some reason that we'll find out when we get to heaven, Eric Clapton and Keith Richards and John Mayall and a lot of other young English kids found something in common with this rural black American music from the southern plantations that was 20 years out of time when they heard it.
This British-driven guitar music meant boom times for Gibson and Fender, who dominated the guitar market for the next decade. Meanwhile, Black America had moved on from blues to embrace soul music. For soul music, the guitar was not an icon, but was an important supplier of color and phrasing.
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour.
If there's anything to be said about the Stax sound, it really was music with licks in it. We like to call them money licks, you know. A song that becomes a real national hit record is identifiable within its working parts, whatever it is. But a funny little, little thing that happened with me in writing a song, I came up with an intro for a song with Wilson Pickett that went like this. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, which there again, when you start, by the time you get there, everybody in the audience knows what you're going to play. I was working with Eddie Floyd one night, and we wrote a pretty neat little song called Knock on Wood. We were having trouble, you know, getting an intro for it. And I sat there, and all of a sudden it hit me, I don't know why it hit me, to play Midnight Hour intro backwards, which went.
I don't wanna lose this good thing that I've got.
And therein lies an example of how something so simple can become so identifiable, and I always refer to it as follow the dots. And if you know anything about guitar, it's marked with these fret markers called dots, and they're on the top side as well. And you just follow the dots, and you can't get into trouble, you know.
Folk music was the last to hold out to the lure of the electric guitar, until Roger McGuinn and the Byrds showed what could be done with a Dylan song and an electric 12-string.
I was interested in getting an electric 12-string, so I took a pickup and put it in my acoustic 12-string, but it didn't quite have the sound that I was looking for. And around 1965, the Beatles came out, 64, 65, and I was really interested in the sound that they were getting, so I went to see George Harrison playing a Rickenbacker in A Hard Day's Night, and that's what gave me the idea for the Rickenbacker 12. At the time I heard the Beatles, I was working as a songwriter in the Brill Building, which is a famous Tin Pan Alley in New York City. And my job was to listen to the radio and emulate the songs that I heard. And when the Beatles came out, I was doing that. So naturally, I jumped right into that kind of music and started mixing folk songs that I'd known before with the Beatles beat. Things like, well, what later came out as Turn, Turn, Turn. To everything, turn, turn, turn. Here is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.
Roger McGuinn very much came out of folk music. He was in the Limelighters. He was in some traditional groups. McGuinn came out of that. What was really important was that unlike a lot of folk music snobs, McGuinn heard the Beatles and said, this is the greatest, I got to start a band too. But he brought a lot of folk music into it with him. Most obviously the 12-string guitar, which has in itself become a whole kind of subgenre. But McGuinn put things together in a new way. And the fact that then it would work with Bob Dylan's lyrics as a Mr. Tambourine Man, suddenly opened up a world of possibilities.
I used a lot of my banjo technique on the guitar. I started doing this rolling thing. And that would be the substructure of the song. It would be in the song, like, and then I'd put lead lines over it, you know, like on 8 Miles Island, which was influenced by John Coltrane's saxophone work that I was very interested in. So I was trying to get the valves opening and closing with the 12-string, you know.
If you want to get real small about it, there is a whole line that you can follow from the 60s to the present that came out of the Byrds. And then, you know, in the bigger sense, the Byrds become one more color that goes in and out of everything else. And a lot of people, you know, Springsteen or Jackson Browne or any number of people will have their one Byrdsy song.
Hey,